Right now, while you are watching this, there are families across this country who have spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours getting ready. Pantry shelves lined floor to ceiling with pressure-canned meat, ball jars, lids they have to replace every single season. A $200 pressure canner humming on the stove. And every one of them is one failed seal away from losing everything.
Last winter, when the snowstorm knocked out power across 3 counties, our English neighbors came knocking on our door, asking for food. Their freezers had gone dark, their refrigerators were warming, and they were watching hundreds of dollars of food spoil before their eyes. Meanwhile, in our cellar, we had jars of vegetables.
I'm going to show you today what the Old Order Amish in Pennsylvania have known for 200 years, and what the modern preparedness industry has spent decades making sure you never find out. It costs nothing. No electricity, no special equipment, no jars. And it keeps meat edible for 3 full years. I am Uncle Silas, and today I am pulling back the curtain on the biggest lie in modern food storage. Here is what the modern preparedness industry has taught you to believe. To preserve meat long-term, you need a pressure canner. You need mason jars, new lids every year, because the seals degrade, and you can only use them once. You need precise temperature, precise timing. And if you get any of that wrong, any of it, you are not looking at spoiled food. You are looking at botulism. And if pressure canning is not enough, the industry will helpfully sell you a freeze dryer, starting at $3,000. Because apparently, that is what self-reliance costs now. I want you to sit with that. Self-reliance. That costs $3,000. Now picture an Amish family in 1887. No electricity, no ball corporation, no county extension office. They butchered a hog in November, and that hog fed their entire family, every cut, every piece, straight through to the following autumn. No freezer, no jar, no refrigeration of any kind. How? That is the question the preparedness industry does not want you to ask, because the answer does not require a single thing they are selling. Here is exactly when this changed. In 1858, John Mason patented the mason jar. By the early 1900s, Ball Corporation had turned glass canning into a national industry. And simultaneously, this is the part that broke something open in my head. The old preservation guides disappeared.
This might be the oldest food preservation trick in human history, and it's still going strong today. Long before refrigerators hummed in our kitchens, people discovered that rubbing meat with salt made it last for months instead of days. The science is simple but brilliant. Salt pulls moisture out of food through osmosis, creating an environment where bacteria simply can't survive. No water, no bacterial part. In medieval...
The ones used by every farm family in this country for 2 centuries. Gone. The agricultural extension offices that replaced them taught the new methods. Methods that required the new equipment. Equipment that companies like Ball and Kerr were manufacturing by the millions. I started pulling threads on this. And what I found was not a gap in knowledge. It was a gap that someone had carefully manufactured. Because the old methods still worked. They had always worked. The Amish never switched. They kept doing what their grandparents taught them. And their meat stayed good. Their families stayed fed. Their pantry never failed. The principle behind canning is sound. Oxygen-free environment. Kill the bacteria, seal it away. But fat does the exact same thing, naturally, reliably, for free. And the industry that sold you jars, lids, pressure canners, and freeze dryers never once needed you to know that. Before I show you exactly how to do this, I want to hear from you. If you have ever pulled a jar off the shelf and found that lid popped, that quiet disaster of a ruined batch, drop a 1 in the comments right now. If you have never canned and you are here because you know something is coming and you want to be ready, drop a 2. Either way, stay with me. The next 6 minutes are specifically for you. The method is called the lard pack. or in the Appalachian tradition, putting up in grease. Here is the science, and I want you to understand this, because this is not folk medicine. This is biology. Bacteria need three things: moisture, oxygen, the right temperature. Modern canning handles two. You heat the meat to kill bacteria. You seal the jar to block oxygen. The lard pack handles all three at once. Without a single piece of equipment, you cannot make yourself. When you pack cooked meat into a crock and pour rendered lard over it, the fat displaces all surface moisture. When it cools and solidifies, it creates a physical barrier that oxygen cannot penetrate. And stored in a root cellar, the fat stays solid. The barrier stays intact. The meat beneath it stays preserved. I spoke with an 83-year-old woman in eastern Tennessee. Her grandmother learned this method from her grandmother, which puts us back to the 1860s. She told me the only time she ever saw it fail was when someone got impatient and broke the fat surface before it had fully hardened. That is the only failure condition. Not a seal that pops in the night. Not a pressure reading you misread. Not a warped lid. The only way the lard pack fails is impatience. And the cost? Lard comes from pork fat. If you are butchering a hog, the fat is not a byproduct. It is part of the animal. You render it yourself. You pay nothing. The crock, earthenware or ceramic, is reusable. Indefinitely. The same crock a family used in 1887 could be the same crock their grandchildren use today. $0. Zero disposable equipment. Zero dependency on a supply chain that can fail. This is why the Amish never switched. Not because they were backward, because they understood that what they already had worked. Here is exactly how to do it. Step 1. Render the lard. Source the fattiest pork cut you can find. Ask your butcher for pork fat. It is often free or pennies per pound, because most commercial operations throw it away. They do not know what they are discarding. Cut it into 1-inch pieces. Place them in a heavy cast iron pot on the lowest heat your stove will give you. Do not rush it. Over 30 to 40 minutes, the fat renders down into clear liquid. When the solid pieces and the cracklings turn golden, remove from heat. Strain through cheesecloth into a clean vessel. Salt the cracklings while they are warm. Nothing from this process is wasted. That is the whole point. Step 2. Cook and pack your meat. Choose pork. Shoulder or belly works best. Cook it fully, completely. No pink anywhere. The old standard was cook until the meat pulls from the bone. Season simply. Salt, pepper, dried sage if you want to follow the Appalachian tradition exactly. Your crock must be spotlessly clean and completely dry. Any trapped moisture is your only real enemy here. Place a layer of meat. Pour warm liquid lard until that layer is fully submerged. Add another layer of meat. More lard. Work upward until every surface of every piece is surrounded by fat. When you reach the top, pour 1 full inch of pure lard above your highest piece of meat. 1 inch. That is your seal. That is your lid. That is your pressure canner. Step 3. Cool and store. Let it cool at room temperature until the lard has fully solidified. Several hours. Do not refrigerate to speed it. Rapid temperature change creates air pockets. Air pockets are the enemy. Once solid, cover with a clean cloth or fitted lid and move to the coolest, darkest place you have. Root cellar, basement corner, north-facing closet near ground level. Anywhere that stays consistently between 40 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, with the fat fully intact, 3 years is not an exaggeration. It is the lived experience of families who depended on this the way modern families depend on their refrigerator. The canning industry is not evil, but it is a business. And every business benefits when you believe you cannot survive without its products. The families who made it through the Great Depression and 2 world wars, they did it on animal fat and patience, on knowledge that does not require a credit card, knowledge that does not expire when the grid goes down. That is what we pull out of the dark here. If you are going to try the lard pack this season, drop the word crock in the comments right now. I want to see how many of us are doing this. Hit subscribe if you want to keep pulling these threads with me. I am Uncle Silas, and these are the secrets they forgot to bury.